Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to put you right in the driver's seat to decode the overlapping and sometimes kind of tricky rules of Sweden's shared space traffic models. If you're studying for your Swedish driving theory exam, or honestly, even if you're just fascinated by urban planning, you've probably noticed that driving in Swedish towns isn't just about red lights and stop signs, right? It's really about understanding this very specific hierarchy of shared spaces. So let's jump right in and decode these special streets together.
Picture this. You're driving into this exact Swedish town. The environment gets noticeably denser. The traditional sidewalks kind of disappear, and suddenly you're looking at more open paved areas. Now, as the street becomes more shared between people walking, cycling, and driving, your responsibility behind the wheel shoots way up. You're no longer just following a painted lane. You are navigating a living, breathing, shared ecosystem.
Okay, here's our quick roadmap so you know exactly what we're tackling today. Entering the built-up area, navigating the home zone, rules for pedestrian streets, sharing the bicycle street, recommended versus legal limits, and we'll wrap up by testing your knowledge. Let's do this.
Section 1. Entering the built-up area. We're going to start our journey with the absolute broadest category you'll encounter as you pull off the highway and into a town. So, check out the E5 sign. It's that black silhouette of a city skyline on a white background. This tells you you've hit a built-up area. Now, here's the really interesting part. This sign should basically always be paired with a corresponding speed limit. Plus, if you spot a prohibitory sign displayed right alongside it, that specific prohibition applies to the entire town, literally everywhere, right up until you pass the sign marking the end of the built-up area. It essentially sets the baseline rules for the whole community. Moving right along to Section 2, navigating the home zone. As you drive a bit deeper into town, you might encounter an open plaza or public square surrounded by local shops and homes. You'll know it by the blue sign showing a house, a car, and some pedestrians. The absolute core philosophy here, as the driver, you are strictly a guest. You have to completely adapt to the pedestrians. In fact, you're legally obligated to yield to them. And what about parking? Yeah, you can't just pull over wherever you feel like it. You can only park in specifically marked spots. And crucially, when it's time to exit the home zone, you have to give way to all other traffic.
But the real kicker here is your speed. The source material doesn't mince words. Your legal limit is strictly walking speed. And for your theory test, walking speed is pegged at about 7 kilometers per hour. I mean, that is incredibly slow. We're talking the speed of an eager toddler here. But it just goes to show how heavily focused this zone is on pedestrian safety.
All right, Section 3, rules for pedestrian streets. Let's venture even further into the city center, maybe into a busy shopping district, where things get a bit more restrictive. It helps to look at the contrast between these two heavily pedestrian-focused areas. Once you're inside, both the home zone and the pedestrian street actually share the exact same strict driving rules, like that 7-kilometer-per-hour limit and yielding to everyone on foot. But here's the key difference. Pedestrian streets strictly limit who can even enter in the first place. While a home zone is open to general traffic, a pedestrian street absolutely is not.
So who actually makes the cut? Only essential traffic. Unless you're making a specific delivery, driving a medical transport, or accessing a home or hotel right on that street, you can't drive in. Though, definitely remember this exception for your exam. You are always permitted to safely cross a pedestrian street no matter your reason, just exactly like you would cross a bike path.
Shifting gears a bit, here's Section 4, sharing the bicycle street. Let's talk about areas fundamentally designed for a totally different kind of traffic. Marked by a blue sign with a car and a bike, this street completely flips the script. Can you drive a car here? Yes, but the space belongs to the cyclists. That means you've got to yield to anyone already on the street the moment you enter, and you have to adapt your pace to the bikes around you. And just like in the home zone, parking is strictly for designated spaces only, and you definitely have to yield when you're leaving.
Oh, and lock this number into your brain for test day. 30. Regardless of the traffic flow, or even if the street looks completely deserted, you are absolutely never allowed to top 30 kilometers per hour on a bicycle street. It's a hard limit, and it's there to keep cyclists safe.
Section 5, recommended versus legal limits. Now we're getting into a nuance that trips up so many learner drivers, the subtle but super important difference between a recommended speed and a hard legal limit.
You'll see this a lot, a square blue sign with a number on it, usually placed right near a speed bump. Now, the driving manual says it's not appropriate to drive faster than that number, but think about this critically for a second.
what does not appropriate actually mean in a legal sense? Is it actually breaking the law to drive faster than what's on that blue sign?
Well, the answer is actually no, it's not illegal. Think about it. If a recommended lower speed of 30 was a strict legal ban, they just use a standard round red and yellow speed limit sign, right? Why have two totally different signs for the exact same rule? You wouldn't. So if the actual road limit is 50 and you see that blue 30 sign, you are legally permitted to drive at 45 or 50, provided you deem it completely safe to do so. The blue sign is a really strong suggestion based on the road layout, but that red and yellow circle, that is the absolute law.
All right, Section 6, test your knowledge. We've covered a ton of ground here, from built-up areas all the way down to toddler walking speeds. Let's see how well you've built out your mental model of these rules with a really quick interactive test. Take a good look at these 4 signs. We've got A, a black skyline, B, a blue square saying max 30, C, a blue rectangle with a house, a car, and some people, and D, a blue square with an adult and child walking. Which one of these specific signs indicates a pedestrian street? Take a second, lock in your answer. Okay, if you went with D, you nailed it. Let's do a super quick recap just to cement this. Sign A is your built-up area. That sets the town's baseline. Sign B is that recommended lower speed we just unpacked, the strong suggestion, not the hard limit. Sign C is the home zone, open to all traffic but capped at 7 kilometers per hour. And that leaves D, the pedestrian street, which has the rules of the home zone, but it's totally closed off to non-essential traffic. I want to leave you with this final, really crucial thought straight from the source material about these highly restricted zones. You may drive no faster than walking speed, even though there are no pedestrians nearby. I think that perfectly sums it up. Driving safely in Sweden isn't just about reacting to the hazards popping up in front of your bumper. It's about having a deep respect for the fundamental purpose of the shared space itself. The rules apply to the space, not just the current situation. Keep that exact philosophy in mind, and you're going to do brilliantly on your theory test. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy studying.